Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the World Center of Racing Daytona International Speedway, where the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series will take the challenge under the bright lights tonight for some big payouts. Just 1 week after the completion of the the first week back after the SummerSlam. Malik Ray, back-to-back champion. He got the job done there, and we are excited to get back to our regularly scheduled programming here tonight. If you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being here. You are watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. Qualifying is complete. With that, let's get right down trackside and get into tonight's starting grid. The man up front on the pole is going to be none other than Matt Lee. Puts down a pretty good lap himself at a 50.836. Miles Bagley will start to his outside in the second spot. Back in row 2, the SummerSlam 499 winner Malik Ray. He'll start alongside the 18 of Wyatt Gray. The Jack Shack's Trevor Osmanoff rolling off in the top 5. It'll be Michael Guest to the outside of row number 3 in 6th. Cody Nagels back in 7th with Jared Haynes in 8th. Nathan Harper in 9th and Garrett Maines rounding out the top 10. Brock Westmoreland on the inside of row number 6. He'll roll off 11th with Dylan Basin to his outside in 12th. Back in 13th, it's Curtis Mitchell making what I believe is his first start in PGR here tonight, alongside Matthew Stallneck, who will roll off from the 14th position. Evan Carlbon back in 15th. It'll be Brian Henning starting in that 16th spot. Asher Little rolls 17th with Jeff Merck 18th. And it'll be David Justin alongside Dylan Ost rounding out the top 20. Back in 21st, it's Adam Young alongside Gordon Spain in 22nd. It'll be Brandon Baker back in the 23rd spot with Cameron Craighead to his outside in 24th. Mike Davenport rolls 25th with Michael Barksdale 26th. Larry McDonald and David Sheets make up row 14 with Daniel Falkingham in 29th. And Logan York back in the field tonight. He'll start 30th. Freddie Bosnez keeps us going in 31st. It'll be Joey Maschwitz in 32nd. Kyler Wynn in 33rd with Joshua McCullough in 34th. Tucker McClendon rolls 35th. Ken McCullough Jr. back in 36th. Mark Vondell 37th. Joel Hernandez in 38th. And rounding out the field here tonight is going to be John Ward in the 39th position. Looking at your race info, again, back under the lights here at Daytona International Speedway, a 2.5-mile beast of an oval, 30-plus degrees of banking in the corners. Track temp here tonight in the 80s, and we're seeing sim temp being more of the same. Clear skies, light wind, and we're back in the Xfinity cars. We'll go 60 laps at 50% fuel. These guys have 2 sets of tires, no fast repair, fixed setups, and 1 green-white checkered if we were to need it. Well, a lot of guys looking to see if they can get the second half of the PGR semester, quarter, whatever you want to call it, going in the right direction here with a win. And a big opportunity to do that here tonight. iRacing.com pace car pulls off. Here we go. Green flag is in the air. We are racing at Daytona. Field up to full pace now, and already a split up front. Miles Bagley going to the back. That was the 18 of Wyatt Gray, who took him 3 wide right through the middle. Guest and Jared Haynes went with him. Just like that, the 87, not the start that he wanted. He'll continue falling to the back, stuck on the outside line, but still 2x2 up front. No big moves yet besides the 87 fading back, and really a pretty organized restart at that. Bagley finally going to find a spot to jump in line there a little bit further back. That looks like it's going to be right around where Dylan Ost is running. Gordon Spain further back looked like he was looking for a spot in line. Asher Little's there as well. And the 98 trying to go to the front. That's Michael Barksdale, and a little bit of a different scheme and number here tonight. The 80 of Larry McDonald, then Kyler Wynn and Logan York. Watch for that duo to get hooked together when they want to try to go to the front. Matt Lee, your pole sitter, though, still leading the way as they remain 2x2 down the super stretch here at Daytona. Malik Ray finally, though, with the big enough push to get clear, and he will take it. That's a big move, too, for Wyatt Gray, doing all that pushing. You want an opportunity to cool the engine down, and now he'll get it with some clean air on the front nose of his Toyota Supra. By the way, quick broadcasting note, our co-host Dawson Wise was initially supposed to be joining us here tonight, but He did have something come up, so is unfortunately not able to make it. So certainly missing out on not having Dawson here tonight, but nonetheless, the racing still going to be equally as good. As I mentioned, the SummerSlam, those were in the Gen 6 cars. This is, again, the first time PGR is back in the non-Gen 6 car for quite a few weeks. And I know that a lot of these guys are antsy trying to figure out how things are going to work, and I think we're starting to see some of those jitters play out. The 41 of Matthew Stallneck, he wants to go to the front. Quick to jump out 3 wide here. It's not going to get much help, though. Looking to see if the 88 would think about going with him, but it hasn't happened yet. So they'll stay side by side for now. There's Curtis Mitchell, one of the new drivers, making his first start of the Intimidator Superspeedway Series here tonight. Looking for a good run. By the way, we do have a few driver cams on board tonight, which we will go to here in just a few minutes. But for now, still 2x2 and very organized here at Daytona. By the way, 50% fuel. Keep tabs on this. These guys are likely going to have to pit probably right around that 16 to 20 lap marker would be my general guess. I mean, these cars we know can't go 40 laps on full fuel, or maybe right around there at most. So again, I would say probably 16 to 20. If you save, maybe you can go a couple laps further, but this should be a 2-stop race if you can make it to lap 20. So that'll be the big strategy to watch. Up front, the leader's not saving any fuel. As you lead the way at Daytona, you are wide open. But I'll tell you what, it feels pretty good to get back in the Xfinity car. One that's a little bit more controlled chaos, if you will. As these guys get an opportunity to be a little bit more aggressive without quite as much consequence here tonight. You can't quite push as aggressive in these Xfinity cars as what we saw, of course, during the SummerSlam and in the Gen 6 cars. But you can certainly still make just about any lane work, and the third continues to try to slowly make its way to the front, and they're going to get help big time here in the form of former Coke Series driver Garrett Maines jumping to the outside and trying to lead that line to the front. That's Jeff Merck up here trying to make something happen. And for Jeff Merck, came so close just a few weeks back to getting his first win in the PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series. Things didn't play out. So Merck's trying to make something happen here tonight. New scheme for Merck, too. Pretty cool looking colors for his Chevy Camaro. Daniel Falking in behind him. Caution. Trouble out back here. We got a couple of them spun around. Big damage to the front end of Tucker McClendon. Looks like the other two is the 98 of Michael Barksdale and the 77 of Brenton Barker. And I think earlier I pronounced Brenton as Brandon, so I apologize for that. But that is another driver that I believe is making their first start here tonight. And it's not the first impression you want to make. Unfortunately, though, that's the way it goes sometimes. And there is Brenton, one of the drivers carrying an onboard view for us here tonight. Driver out of Germantown, Wisconsin. He's certainly got some notable nose damage just in front of him. David Justin, another driver here with some significant damage to his front nose. So we'll go back and look at this. And by the way, I think everybody will pit for fuel here. I don't think there's any major strategy that would play out. Maybe 2 tires, maybe not, but the general idea is everybody's going to go into top off. So with that, let's go back and see if we can figure out exactly where this wreck started. I'm seeing on the data feed that it may have been something right around Michael Barksdale that triggered this accident. But sometimes things play out a little bit further ahead, and it looks like that may have been exactly what happened. Yeah, further up there. It's going to be way up, actually. It looks like the 22 and the 3. See if we can figure out exactly who those two cars are. It's not the 3 of Ken McCullough Jr. It's the 3 of... That's Dylan Aust. And watch this here. As they're coming into the tri-oval, this is where sometimes things get a little bit light. The car starts to get a little bit loose, and you really got to be careful if you try to push, but it's not that. It's just a checkup. The 316 of Curtis Mitchell, nowhere to go for him, so he's just slightly out of the gas, and just in front of him, or just behind him, rather, Dylan has to get on the brakes. The 38, not quite able to react in time. That's where the contact happens, and then he gets up into the 22, who gets up into the 41 of Matthew Stallneck, and now it's going to be on. Watch the 3 goes down, tries to save it. He does, but then there's more contact up front. Asher Little gets together with Barksdale, and from there, it looks like the rest is history. And the checkup, when you have a field this size, it just stacks up so quick and gets to the back so fast that a lot of drivers don't really have a choice. Asher Little, man, he took a pretty good shot. And then Tucker McClendon right there at the end. Good deer in the headlights. You just have nowhere to go. You lock up the brakes, and hope that the car stops just before contact, but a lot of times it doesn't. See a couple down to the inside wall. Wow, big hit for Cameron Craighead as well. So we'll go to a couple different onboard views for this one. Craighead actually got up into the air as he got kind of wedged against the wall. Let's go to his onboard view first. As he was in the back of this, and he's going to see Asher Little make some contact in front. Look at the checkup. Trying to get on the brakes, but just gets turned from out back, and here's the big hit. Oh, man. I can promise you that ripped the rear suspension out for the 48 car. So that'll be something he has to certainly go in and work on. And then this is the onboard view here for Asher Little. He sees it, turned into Barksdale, and then here comes an on-rushing Tucker McClendon, who's also going to have nowhere to go, as there's the contact for him. So for Tucker with the hood flapping around, that maybe not an end to the night for him, but certainly a competitive end. We'll see if he can make it back out on the racetrack. So we turn our attention back up front now. Kyler Wynn is still leading the way. Garrett Maines in second with Malik Ray back in third. Jeff Merck fourth. Wyatt Gray currently rounding out your top five. And again, everybody topping off on fuel, but I don't really see any other crazy strategy to play out from this right now. And I see Malik coasting on the apron, but I don't think anybody's in any sort of major fuel save mode here. And as we do get ready to go back to green flag racing, for anybody that's maybe new or just tuning in tonight, if you missed out on the SummerSlam 499, I encourage you, go back and, if nothing else, just watch the end. I mean, there was chaos that played out, but the man who got it done is the man who got it done the first time. And we got to take a minute to talk about Malik Ray, back-to-back champion in the PGR SummerSlam 499. And if you missed the finish, again, encourage you to go back and watch it, but the general gist, it came down to just a two-car battle through the trial. Daniel Falkingham tandemed away with Malik Ray. Malik was in front. Daniel went to make the move. They drag raced to the line. Malik made a little bit of contact. Tried to get that 88 roughed up just enough so that he couldn't quite get by. And boy, it was a photo finish, an incredible one at that. Malik Ray was able to just edge him out at the line. So he got the job done, took home the $1,500 and the SummerSlam belt. But man, for Daniel Falkingham, he's just one short. I mean, this guy's so close to having, well, he's already got arguably the most impressive resume of any PGR driver when you look at the time span that he's been in the series and how much he's done. The only box he has not checked was the SummerSlam 499, and he came within a thousandth of a second of checking that box and completing everything there is to do in PGR, but no dice. So you know he's pretty eager tonight to try to get back to victory lane and see if he can make it happen. Nathan Harper back in 9th. Michael Guest 10th. Freddie Bosnez right now back in that 11th spot. Jared Haynes has got himself down 4 spots from where he started this race at in 12th. Brian Hennings up 2 from where he started this race at. Gordon Spain on the move. He's up 7 positions from where he started this race at. So Kyler Wynn, maybe one of the few drivers that either flipped strategy or made it through the field a lot quicker than I would have assumed, because he is up 32 positions from where he started this race at. So that's another car that we'll be keeping an eye on here. And it will be 10 laps complete when they cross the line. So still going to be 51 laps remaining here at Daytona. Still at least 2, and I think 2 pit stops in play. But no more fuel saving. All right, here we go. Back into the restart zone. Green flag is in the air. And it's a good restart for the 82 of Kyler Wynn. Gets a big jump, and he'll have the option here to go up in front of Garrett or stay down low with his teammate Malik Ray. Just a quick note on that Kyler Wynn strategy. I just thought about it. If these guys can make it 20 laps generally saving, what Kyler probably did was stayed out because this caution did give him enough to make it to that lap 20 mark. So he's still on a 2-stop strategy like everybody else. He would just have to take a little bit more fuel, but obviously the trade-off is that he gets some track position. Now 2x2 with his teammate Malik Ray down the super stretch. Malik with a big shove from the Supra of Garrett Maines. He'll get clear, but not quite enough to take it, so they'll have to stay stacked up top. Jeff Merck, Matt Lee, Trevor Osmanoff all pushing in line, and then it's Freddie Bosnez, the first man to jump out. Brock Westmoreland giving it a thought. Does the 4-car want to jump out and help the 2? Not yet. He gives it another peek through the trial, but still not sure exactly where he wants to go. Daniel Falkingham trying to make his way back through the field now as well. And Carl Bond in 19th, and a little bit of a break in the pack here Not completely, but certainly these guys getting separated a little bit. This is always what you got to be careful of as a driver, especially early on these restarts. It can be a lot easier to lose the pack than you realize. You get caught up riding in line a little too far back. And there you see the track map. Lead pack goes all the way back to about 33rd. And then 34th on back, separated. We got a couple cars that did have to retire from this race, including Brenton Barker, involved in that first accident, and John Ward did not actually complete a green flag lap. So certainly a tough break there. As Miles Bagley, by the way, the other driver that is carrying an onboard view for us here tonight, as we hop over to his camp. There's the real-life cockpit view for Miles Bagley, driver out of Kennesaw, Georgia. And right now, he sits in that 20th spot. Remember, he qualified second, but got split on the first lap before they even made it to turn 3, fell all the way to the back end. It's just so hard to make the track position up. That's the one downside with these Xfinity cars versus when we were in the Gen 6s. You got to really fight for track position because it takes a while to get, and if you lose it, it is not something that is easy to get back. Now 3 abreast up front. Garrett Maines on the outside, Merck in the middle, Malik Ray on the bottom. I thought the top would roll, but instead it is all Merck and Malik right now out front. 13 laps complete as they cross the stripe this time. And for Matt Lee, he's been in the top 4 all night, qualified on the pole, trying to see if he can get himself back to victory lane here tonight. Garrett Maines, what a story for him, and not in the good way. You look at the SummerSlam and the way things went for him, looked like he was in position probably about 90% of his heat race. All of a sudden, he gets left out to dry. All the guys that you would assume that maybe would have worked with him did not. Everybody bailed. Garrett was left by himself and fighting with Michael Barksdale on the last lap. Those two got into it a little bit, and both of them did not advance. And watch out, Wyatt Gray gonna split. Kyler Wynn up front. Boy, that was a daring move as the 18. It was a game of chicken almost. The 82 was like, are you going to split me? Wyatt Gray said, yes, I am. Takes that spot back, and now he'll go to the lead for the first time here tonight. So as they stay 2 by 2, Wyatt quickly going to shuffle up to the top now. That'll give the 39 of Daniel Falkingham the option now. He'll try to go to the lead. Good to see Michael Guest back in the field. He's looking to see if he can get some momentum going again. Trevor Oswanoff now the only remaining car up top with Garrett Maines. They're going to look for a little bit more help, though, down the super stretch. Kyler now moves up top. He'll get a little bit of help from Malik. Falkingham's going to shuffle to the middle. And how about this for a front row? You've almost got 3 Coke Series drivers running 1, 2, 3. Kyler Wynn, the only one that separates them at the moment. Harper with a little tandem there is going to keep Guest out in front off of turn 4, but you know, we talked about track temp at the start of the race, and not that hot, only 84 degrees, but that third lane is still rolling as if it were in the hundreds right now. Shows you what you can do when you got the right pushers in the right lane. These guys certainly making some good progress right now. Still 3 by 3 though at the moment, with now officially a quarter of the laps complete in this 60-mile event here tonight. And by the way, if you're just tuning in, again, we appreciate you being here. You're watching the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series at Daytona. Devin Ray, good to see you in here. Dax Brown says, let's go, Mitchell. Tyler Vickery, hope you're having a good night. Dis X says, let's go, Malik. Heath Job in here as well. Good to see everybody. Hope you guys are all having a good Thursday night. There's a couple cars there in the background. There's the pack flying by here at Daytona at over 190 miles an hour as they work down the short chute. And these guys have been 3 wide for a little while, and again, it looks pretty controlled, but we've seen a couple of brief wiggles up front, and oh boy, watch out here. Going to go 4 wide around the lapper. Cody Nagels, this is where it gets tight. Can they all make it through clean? They just funnel onto the straightaway in time, and man, was that close. Usually when these guys are 3 wide here at Daytona, you'll see lap cars go to the apron, but Nagels choosing to stay on the racetrack. Not sure if on accident or by intention, but let's see 4 wide at Talladega. You can technically do it here, but it is really, really tough. These guys seem to make it work, though. Looking back at this pack in terms of how far back it goes, see the poor Brock Westmoreland, but this pack really kind of ends all the 3 wide right around the 20th place running car, maybe a few spots further up than that. You've got this trailing pack that is still hanging with the leaders. Ken McCullough Jr., the last car in that pack. See Cameron Craighead doing a little drifting, trying to make it out of the pits. He's still got some pretty significant damage. Gordon Spain, Matthew Stallnet, Cameron Craighead, and Cody Nagels. All cars running by themselves, and for Nagels, who's 2 laps down, Really, a lot of these guys, you're going to need a caution here pretty soon. Otherwise, their chances could be over. Garrett, oh, man. Tried to slam the door on Daniel Falkingham, and I don't know if that was as close as it looked from the live shot, but that was almost a huge incident going into turn 3. Let's back this up and look at it again here. And it was as close as it looked. Garrett got some momentum, but oh my goodness. I mean, I wouldn't even say he was clear, but he somehow saved it off the nose of Daniel Falkingham. That could have been big. And I'm sure Garrett's a little nervous about that now as he gets back up in front of Osranoff. Not sure if that was Daniel Falkingham giving him a little send up the track. We're going to back this up one more time to see what that second close call was almost about right here. That doesn't look like it's Falkingham doing anything wrong. Ooh, maybe a little contact there from Kyler Wynn. That's exactly what that was, the 82. Getting a little physical. That's what sent the one up the track. And now Malik Ray will go to the point in that middle line. Now, the other thing that I feel like I should have had if we're going to try to make some drama for this was, speaking of the way the SummerSlam ended, some of the drama that surrounded Garrett Maines not advancing were the guys that ditched him, and one of those was none other than the man that is out front on the inside line right now, the 82 of Kyler Wynn. And we know Kyler, one of the most talented super speedway drivers you will find in the sim. Along with that, one of the most aggressive. And some drivers love him, some drivers hate him. Garrett Maines, with the way things went, I don't think he's too much of a Kyler Wynn fan, especially when you go back to the interviews and Kyler said, yeah, listen, I was more than happy to see some of the guys that didn't make the race. I felt like guys split me early, and I said, all right, that's how we're going to race. I did the exact same thing back, and worked out for Kyler making it to the feature, but got to think that Garrett's saying if he ever gets a chance to repay the favor and leave out the 82, he may do it. Still 3 wide at the front here at Daytona. We have now been green for quite a few laps and been 3 wide for just about as many, as Garrett Maines has been working this third with Trevor Osranoff for a while as well, and they just can't seem to get back clear. Garrett was leading the middle and the bottom there for a brief period, but just has not been able to get back since. I almost wonder if this third lane is really just out of temps, if you will. Trevor Osranoff either not feeling like he can push, and yeah, now the rest of the cavalry is going to bail here. Freddie Bosnez, he's going to duck out. Matt Lee maybe going to slot in line here just behind the 22 if he can. Top on board here, further back in the group. This is from the 18th spot. Dylan Basin, currently 6 positions back from where he started this race at, as he will see the 78 of Evan Carlbon drop down just in front of him, and just taking it easy right now, making sure that he stays up in the action, but not necessarily getting too involved in it at the moment. So he's kind of back where they've single filed out, not single filed, but double filed out. And now back up front, third lane going to try again. Matt Lee, Trevor Osranoff, they've gotten a little bit of temps. They're going to try to make another run here. Falkingham jumps low. That's a big chance for Garrett. Can he get clear here into 3? He's got the run. Oh, just not quite. There's no run in the middle, but Garrett needed a little bit more of a push from Trevor. Trevor just did not have the temps to do it. And now that third's going to fade back again, but this time Garrett will jump in. Trevor will jump in. That's going to leave Matt Lee as the only man that was not able to get down into the middle. He's got to hope that somebody gives him a chance here. Maybe a spot in front of Bosnez. No. Matt Lee now going to keep falling back positions here until somebody lets him in line. 22 of Adam Young not going to do it either. And, you know, when you start to get closer to pit stops, it's less of an inclination for guys to really want to let you back in line. And we went back green with 10 laps complete. So pit stops are coming up here and not too much longer. I would say about 8 to 10 laps at most from now is when we'll be talking about green flag stops. Now for Kyler, I wonder if he has to go in maybe a little bit sooner in that 82, since he did decide to go with that little bit of a track position strategy. And here we go. Malik Ray's going to pit. That'll answer the question. Multiple cars going to follow here, but it's not going to be the whole group. In fact, actually, it's only going to be about 4 or 5 of them. And this is a pretty stout group. Oh, Kyler makes a mistake, though, in his pit box. Boy, that's going to cost the 82 some time as he got into the inside wall. He'll try to bounce back the best he can, but the other ones that went down were Malik Ray, Michael Guest, and Jeff Merck. Let's see how they all funnel out here at the pits. It's going to be fuel, and I don't know if I even saw tires for this group. We'll have to wait and see what the next group decides to go with. The one of Malik Ray makes it out. 54 Guest, Merck all together. Kyler Wynn, though, it's going to be close. We'll see if that group decides to wait up for him. Now the question is, does this draw everybody else off at turn 4? Let's see who tries to come in this time. No one. So interesting strategy here. I think Kyler having to pit early is what kind of forced the hand of his teammates there, and Michael Guess, Malik Ray, and Jeff Merck. By those guys pitting early, I think the rest of the pack decided, let's go ahead and stay out. See if we can't run this thing closer until we're out of fuel, which is going to be right around that lap 30 marker. But they will start to settle things out. This is where you really want to try to focus on just running fast laps. So if you're up front, if you're the 39 of Falkingham, the 18 of Wyatt Gray, control this field with patience. That's exactly what Wyatt Gray does. He now slots down to the bottom, and Garrett will yet again have a chance to lead the middle/top lane. But the big question is, can he get clear? We've seen guys try to make pit stops from the outside line before. It doesn't always work out the best. Sometimes you really don't have a choice. So they stay 2 by 2. Nobody peels off this time either. But you can certainly see that single file line get longer and longer further back in this pack. Ken McCullough Jr. going to try to take advantage here. See if he can maybe pick up a few spots. Big checkups. Watch out. The 11 off the racetrack's going to slide up. Oh, man. That's a close call right there. Did everybody save it? Dylan Ost was the one who almost got collected in that. And the 11, by the way, that's David Justin. Wow, was that close. Almost our second caution of the night. Go back and look at this just once. Not sure what boots the 11 off the racetrack here. I didn't think that he got pushed, but he certainly may have. Yeah, he did actually. Some contact from Dylan Austin. And this is what you always forget about as a driver, that once you get to the turn, that apron doesn't have banking and comes up so quick. Try to get the car woed up, but man, that was a really, really close call. As caution. Just as we were looking back at what was almost one, we have one now. 74, Brian Hennings, and late spinning is 3 of Dylan Ost, and the 11 again of David Justin, who we just saw also almost involved in that last caution, or what was going to be the next caution. And oh boy, is this going to change some things around fuel strategy-wise. I could not tell you what caused this. I can only tell you about where it started. We'll have to figure out the rest here. Brian Hennings in the 74 here, running behind the 7 of Haynes and just in front of the 04 of Matt Lee. Get reports that he may have been the first car to have some contact here. Let's see. Oh, it's up front. Ooh, Wyatt Gray. That's going to cause a massive stack up that gets all the way back. So let's go first, see what happens here to Wyatt Gray, because that's what's going to cause the stack up that leads to the wreck. It looked like he was getting pushed here by the 89 of Trevor Oswernoth. Right as Trevor gets him in the tri-oval, oh, it's just a sensitive spot. Talked about it earlier that the tri-oval can be a little bit of a dicey spot to push. You got to be really careful about it. And Trevor had a little bit of momentum, so it's not like he was already pushing him. It's more so he's getting to him right as they enter the tri-oval. As that car's trying to get ready to load up into the banking, just gets Wyatt sideways. He saves it, and Trevor and everybody nearby does the right thing by checking up to let him save it. The problem is that checkup's going to go backwards, and it's only going to get worse the further back you get. And eventually here it makes it all the way back to right around where Brian Hennings and company were running. That's where this wreck really all breaks out. So let's back it up now. We know what caused it. Watch the stack up here. How quickly things get towards the 74. I mean, Harper's getting turned, and then eventually they just stack up to the point where nobody's able to really hold on to it. Hennings is the first car that really gets turned. Matt Lee's going to go around, but they both, for the most part, just go for what looks like a harmless spin here. And Dylan Austin, the 11, hard on the brakes, trying to miss any contact. That's how they got involved in this. But it really, for what it was, I mean, I don't see any cars that really got sustainable damage, or unsustainable damage, maybe I should say. Oh my goodness, I take it back. Oh man, Mark Von Dell just got hammered by the 11 of David Justin. And Mark Von Dell, reasonably so, I'm sure, is not happy about that. These guys were way behind the wreck. There's no reason you should be getting involved this far back. Now, the next question, I guess, would be, did David Justin get hit? I mean, look at that. Lifts the 59 off the ground, and then for Mark Von Dell, I mean, there's just nothing he can do. Granted, I think for Mark, most of the damage is in the back bumper, which that part is good news. But, I mean, that's still a big hit. That's probably going to end the 11's night as well. Let's go back and look at this from the onboard view here of David Justin. and see if we could see what he saw here. First of all, I want to know, did he get tagged? So we're going to go to the gearbox view first off, and then we'll go to the full-on cockpit view here and see Dylan Ast running just behind him here. And no, Dylan never touches him. Dylan sees it. Dylan checks up. Seems like everybody else does except David Justin. Let's go back and look at this here. So watch how far the wreck is out. Look from the cockpit view. So as a driver, you might still be focusing on the cars in front, but I mean, at this point, you should see it. And I mean, I don't think he even lets off the gas until he's basically at the back bumper of Mark Vondel. I mean, I know sometimes you get kind of hyper-focused as a driver on what's happening out front, but I can tell you the caution was already out by this time. These guys were spinning, and I mean, you got to kind of watch what the cars are doing up front. If they check up, go high, do something, but I mean, maybe he just wasn't expecting it. I do see Mark gets a little bit into Larry before that, so again, maybe these guys just didn't realize it. You know, I'm not sure, but I mean, this is a hard hit. Look at this. Bam! Right into the back of Vondel, and again, I'm sure that those two are not going to be too happy with each other over the mic. Mark Vondel saying, "What the heck, man? You potentially ended my night when we weren't even close to the wreck." For David Justin, again, I think this is his first race, so, you know, it's a rookie mistake. I get it. It does happen. I don't want to sit here and ragdoll him about it, but like I said, if you're Mark Vondel, you paid the same entry fee as he did, so obviously you're not too happy about it. Nonetheless, turn our attention back up front now. Michael Guest currently being scored as your race leader. The 60 of Jeff Merck on the outside in second. So no surprise here that the top four are all the drivers who made that early pit stop. They decided to, of course, either stay out or actually they may have decided to go in top off and still flip track position that way. And I'm curious about that. So let's see if I can find that here. And I can't find it yet. It's not a huge ordeal, I guess, but I was curious about if they decided to go in to top off on a little extra fuel since they didn't have to take as much as the leaders, but I don't think they did. I think they still decided to stay out. So we'll have to see what happens, but it's going to be 30 laps complete when we cross the line this time, so we will officially be at the halfway point in this race here tonight. And good opportunity here real quick to talk about what the payouts are looking like tonight. First place is going to be going home with $300, $230 to second, $180 to third, $160 to fourth, $130 to fifth, $100 to sixth, and something new that they're trying out here is adding an extra spot, but in the form of a free race entry. And again, seventh normally wouldn't pay out any money. Michael Triscaro said, hey, let's try something a little different. How about a payout for the spot? Certainly like that idea, so that's what they're going to try. That was another view there of Brenton Barker. He's got some work to do as we now see the green flag back in the air here at Daytona, officially halfway home. It's a good restart for both cars on the front row. Michael Guest, Jeff Merck going to be at a drag race as they go towards turn at number one. This is all about which line gets more organized here as they get onto the super stretch. The outside has it going a little better right now. Garrett, if he can get to the back bumper of Kyler, I look to see Merck have a big opportunity to try to get clear. Oh, Falkingham had to check up. It's another chance, but the outside can't do it. Malik Ray is going to be able to hold the 54 Guest far enough out so that they don't lose the lead here. Further back in the field, no three wide just yet. Everybody minding their manners for now, and really this restart, maybe the worst of all of them that we've seen so far with that long single file group of cars that have got to be careful here. You cannot afford to lose the lead pack at a track like Daytona. So they'll try to slowly work back up there, but at the front, Jeff Merck leading, and here we go. Three wide, guess who? The 32 of Nathan Harper trying to lead the Cowboys to a win for once. It's not going to happen right now. He's going to have to wait until the end to try to decide that, but nonetheless, Nathan Harper has been on the move here tonight as he tries to get his way further towards the front. Daniel Falkingham, by the way, one of the biggest movers inside the top five. Kyler Wynn, the other. He is up 30-plus positions from where he started this race at. Garrett Maines, he's now made his way up to the third. Another big run there as he tries to side draft the 82 off of the corner. Nothing doing just yet, but they're going to stay three wide as they cross the stripe this time. as they climb the banking into turn one. Nobody else wanting to join that line for the moment, but how about in the chat, Devin Ray with the $2 super chat says refund Mark. You got that right, Devin. I think Mark's saying, hey, Justin, why don't you pay for the entry fee? But that's a tough break for Mark. Devin, we appreciate the $2 super chat. I think that's the first one in months, so certainly appreciate you breaking the drought. All right, here we go. Back on track, still 3 wide. Don Merck, good to see you in here. Aubrey Thompson as well. And if you are just tuning in, you have not necessarily missed too much. We had a couple of cautions, but not a lot of cars out of this race. In fact, I can name them all because it's only about a handful at the moment. Brenton Barker, Mark Vondell, the two cars that are, well, Vondell's actually made it back on track, as has Brenton Barker, but multiple laps down. So at the moment, we don't have any cars out of this race, at least not right now, for the ones that made a start. Malik Ray, though, on the inside with Michael Guess. These two well in control, and Malik's been up front all night, as has Guess. And Garrett Maines has been the story of the man who has been trying to get to the front, and he's been there, but in terms of actually getting the lead, he has been able to do everything but, it seems like. He gets to the third, he gets to the middle, and just as he's about to get there, it doesn't seem to quite pan out for him. Now, obviously, only the last lap matters, but still something to watch here for Garrett Maines. Trouble, watch out. This is going to rip the field apart through the trial, but they're going to wreck him up. Caution is out as the field scatters through the grass. More contact out back. Matt Lee's in it. Curtis Mitchell, David Sheets, Mike Davenport, Larry McDonald's got damage. This is going to be the biggest incident of the night so far. With no fast repairs, we're going to have to look closely at some of the damage that a few of these guys may have sustained on this one. Matt Lee, you saw right in the thick of it. And, oh, man, the left front's broken on that car. That is going to end the pole sitter's night. You can see it shaking, and look how far left he's got the wheel here. Watch as he gets onto the straightaway. I mean, that thing is certainly worse for wear, so that's going to be an end to the night for Matt Lee. And just as I mentioned, we still had all these cars in the race. I think that's getting ready to change. David Sheets again with some damage as well, and this could make fuel strategy a little bit interesting, although I still don't think we're in the window to make it just yet. So before we talk too much about fuel, actually I take it back. Before we look at the replay, let's see who decides to pit here on fuel and who decides to stay out. Again, the fuel window doesn't open for about another 6 laps or so. We'll go green with probably about 20... Ooh, it's going to be probably 22, 23 laps to go, if I had to guess. Maybe even 24. So it's going to be close. I mean, if you save, I think you could maybe stretch 21, 22. I don't think you can do any more than that. But it does look like everybody's going to bring it in for at least fuel. Maybe a couple guys going to take tires. And obviously the cars involved in that last incident going to try to get some damage fixed. I'm looking at the data here, and I think we had more cars than maybe I even initially thought get involved in this, and saw it break out right around where the 60 of Jeff Merck was running, near the front and in the middle. And we haven't seen many issues up front here tonight, but this one, let's see what causes it here. The 60 of Merck, oh, he gives a push to the 54, and I'm not sure if Merck felt like his push was a little too offset or what the deal was, but you can actually see him here back out of the throttle. You saw the fire out of the pipes there in full speed. Oh, he blows the motor. Oh, man, Jeff Merck. He blew the motor up, and that's exactly what caused that big stack up. Let's go to the onboard view here first for Jeff Merck. That's going to end his night as well. And, oh, you hate to do that. It's one of the worst mistakes that you can make. And I've done it before. In fact, I've done it on lap 2 before, but you're trying to fight for all the track position you can get, but you always run that risk. And take a listen here for Jeff Merck. He comes off a 4. He's going to give another push, and there it is. You hear it. The motor starts to give way, slows down a little bit, and then right before he gets hit, you actually hear it pop. And for the rest of the field, here's what it looks like when you've got one car all of a sudden go from 180 under full power to no power. Kyler Wynn, obviously, absolutely nothing that he can do. Nothing really anybody can do for that matter here. As soon as this happens, just along for the ride, and boy, they scatter, and they scatter quickly. Watch it again here. This is at full speed. Watch how quickly things unfold. Jeff Merck back up the track. A couple go down to the pits to try to avoid it. Matt Lee spins. Merck back up the track. I think he gets into Barksdale. Matt Lee gets collected. There's the 316 of Curtis Mitchell. David Sheet slides in. I think Tucker McClendon makes it through. It's a tough break. I'd be curious here. I'm not sure if Merck's going to be hanging around any of the Discords, but if he is, if anybody wants to message him, I'd like to pull him up here and see if he had any indication of it getting ready to do what it just did there, or if it just went on him. But gosh, you hate to see that. He was having such a good night, and we mentioned a couple of weeks ago he came so close to getting another win, but tonight it's not going to happen. Take a couple different angles of this here. And I will say, oh man, that's a big hit for Curtis Mitchell up top. I think the 38 actually misses this. I can't tell if that's the 98 of Michael Barksdale or if that was the 38. I think it was the 38. And I'll get tabs on who that was, and we'll go back and get an onboard shot because, boy, they had a close call. I think it was, wasn't Gordon Spain? Yes, it was. It was the 38 of Gordon Spain here. So let's go back and watch this from his point of view. I mean, he's in the back of this, and he sees it all unfold. I don't know how he doesn't get involved. That is a heck of a job right there by Gordon Spain to make sure that he missed it. Keeps himself in contention. Couple more angles of this. How about what it looked like here from our drone cam? Now we'll take a look at it here from the spectator cam after that, but first really big incident here of the night. You wonder if this, I don't want to say calms the nerves, but everybody kind of knows, okay, we got it out of the way. Can kind of go back to racing here, or if this maybe is kind of everybody opening the lid and all of a sudden things are going to unravel here. Those would be some of the things that I'd watch for, is give you one more angle of this here from the spectator point of view. And the problem here at Daytona, I mean, Talladega is pretty similar, but when you wreck, there's just not a lot of places to run. Now, on the front stretch, a lot of guys were able to utilize the grass. But, man, when things start to come back up on the tri-oval, if you're committed, it's just so hard to get slowed up enough to not get involved at all here. But as we go back live, pace car is off, and we are getting this thing restarted inside of 25 laps to go. Garrett Maines leads into green with a push from Malik Ray. It's Daniel Falkingham on the outside, getting pushed by Freddie Bosnez, and the field trimmed up just a little bit now. Not quite the 38 cars that we had starting this race anymore. Further in the back, showing you a few of these cars trying to catch the pack. Kyler Wynn's got some momentum. He might be able to stick with them. But the 32 of Harper, kind of the only savior right now for this second lane, but the bottom's just rolling too strong. Malik going to push the one at Garrett Maines clear. We'll see if Garrett decides to jump up into turn 3. He's not, but watch out if Malik gets clear. He might take it. Now Garrett is going to go up. That'll allow the 89 of Trevor Oswald to push up towards second. Still a lot of separation here through the middle portions of the pack, all throughout the teens. And even further back, Brock Westmoreland, Ken McCullough Jr., how about David Sheets? Involved in that last incident, but here he is, back up in the top 20 already, trying to get connected with his teammate. By the way, give a little shout out to David here tonight. It's good to see him back. It had been a while since we saw the 06, but busted the sim rig equipment back out. And here he is tonight, trying to see if he can get himself right back to where he left off. Joshua McCullough in the 05 there as well, so watch for McCullough Motorsports. We're getting to that point in the race where it might be time for them to start trying to make a run to the front. By the way, you see it now, 23 laps to go, and we went green with 25, make it 24 to go. I don't see any way that any of these guys can stretch it on fuel. I think we are going to see at least one more pit stop. But if we get a caution, that's when I would be curious to see, does anybody stay out for the track position, or do they try to go in and get it from there? Still 2x2, though, up front. No third lane just yet. Malik and Garrett looking good up front. The two number 1 cars leading the pack. A Chevy Camaro and a Toyota Supra. But Joshua McCullough looking like he maybe wants to get a little aggressive further back. See Joey Maschwitz in the 64. First time getting a chance to call his name tonight as he now starts to make his way to the front. And this lead pack has really gotten a lot smaller than it was earlier in this race. It only goes back right now to about the 26th, 27th place running cars. Tucker McClendon looks to be the last lead lap car in this pack. So for Tucker here in 26th, he knows that everybody else on back is not a concern. We'll see if he decides to stick back or just kind of wait around. But see Jeff Merck in the chat. Little update on that situation. Said was trying to stick the nose out for a little bit of air. Couldn't get it. Let's see if we can bring him up here for just a moment. Hey, Jeff, this is Austin up in the booth. Got a copy?
I do, bud. What's up?
Well, listen, man, I know nobody wants to get talked to after an incident, but it looked like one of those unfortunate deals where the car just blew up on you, but I'm more curious about, were there any warning signs? How hot did it get before the motor finally went?
Yeah, it was really weird because, like, going through 3 and 4, I dropped way back. Me and Kyler both. We were way off the car in front of us cooling it. And it's like as soon as it went from red to orange, I stuck my nose out the left side to get more air, and as soon as I did that, it blew up right in the middle of the pack. And there was nowhere for anybody to go once it cut loose because it, like, really dropped really fast and just got ran over. It was one of those situations. It was just weird.
Yeah, and stuck in the middle, obviously the worst place to be for something like that to happen. And, you had such a good run going here tonight, so the only two other things I got for you here, Merc, is, we saw you almost get a win here in PGR just a couple of weeks ago. You were running good tonight. Do you feel like that win's knocking on the door here in the next week or two? And also, what did you see here tonight, and what did you think is going to be the key for one of these other drivers to win?
Yeah, it's just going to be managing temps. Something that I clearly did poorly, but I think that was just one of those issues that iRacing picked me and went, okay, you're going to blow up just out of the blue for no reason, and that's kind of what happened to me. But it's going to be more about timing, push, managing temps to where you can push, and having somebody in front of you that can take the push.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Jeff, we appreciate you talking to us. Unfortunate break, but, man, you ran good tonight, and hopefully we'll see you again next week.
Oh, yeah, I'll be here. Looking forward to get that PGR win under my belt again.
Absolutely. All right, Jeff Merck, there you have it. Always love getting the in-race interviews from guys and a little bit of an update on what had happened with that situation. So now as we go back live, Daniel Falkingham at the front of the pack here with Garrett Mainson. We've seen that third lane here kind of like a pest right now. It's there, but it's not really doing too much. Joshua McCullough, Cody Nagels, the two taking a chance on it, but they still need a little bit more help. And by the way, hats off to Cody. Fell 2 laps down earlier. Not sure if it was a connection issue or something else, but made his way back onto the lead lap. And the former ERA Omega Cup champion now finds himself running right back in the top 10. So nobody else daring to jump out of line yet, and I think that it's possible that could be the theme here until we get within that fuel window. But whoa! Daniel Falkingham, trouble! Joshua McCullough into the wall here. They all got to try to gather it back up. Cody Nagels blinks out. That's stacking him up further out back. They all save it. Oh, man, that was really, really... Whew, boy, we almost had another big one right here on the super stretch, and I think this move caught Joshua McCullough and a few others by surprise. I'm not sure if Malik was just too hot or what happened, but Daniel Falkingham went to the top right as they had a massive run, and I'll tell you why that catches Josh and Cody by surprise is because usually when there's somebody in the middle, going to the third is something you just don't do because it almost never works. But in this case, when we watch it back in slow-mo, you can see how far back Malik fell. I think if Daniel doesn't try to go up there, the third probably rolls right by him. He gets up there in time, and, well, I could see that two ways. I know a lot of people are going to say that's a late block. I think it was a little late. I think Daniel gets there, though, and then Josh kind of goes offset right a little bit once he gets to him. I think if Josh holds his line and Daniel gets loose, then I can sit here and say, yeah, that's all on Daniel. But, I mean, right here, he's decently square. But then right there, Josh turns up. So when he hits him, he gets him offset. That stacks them both up. Now Cody's got to put on the brakes. Gets into Josh. They both go into the wall, but somehow everybody saves it. We live to fight another day, and Joshua McCullough has not given up on that third lane either. He is still there on the outside trying to make something happen. Now a little bit of help from Tucker McClendon, but Cody and everybody else has since abandoned the third. That inside continues to stay very, very organized. How about further back in the pack, though? Joel Hernandez, another driver making his first PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series start of the night. And you know what? I want to give him an extra prop because you look at this is what tells you stats don't matter all the time. Yes, they matter to a degree. He is a 371 I rating. That is the lowest I rating I have ever seen in the sim. And I will be the first one to tell you right now, and I know I might be jinxing it, but right now he is running better than a lot of the guys that are 2,000 and 3,000 plus in here, and he is running with the lead pack. So tip of the hat there to Joel Hernandez. Phenomenal run going. And he has proven these guys, he knows how to do it on super speedway. Still 2x2 towards the front of the field. Michael Barksdale, 22nd. Jared Haynes back in the 23rd. And Larry McDonald in 24th. Good looking scheme for him, by the way. David Sheets rounding out this pack. Brock Westmoreland fell off the pack, so he's on an island by himself. Kyler Wynn leading a little 4-car group. Asher Little, David Justin. It looks like the 55 of Mike Davenport, who still has some pretty significant damages. Whoa, trouble in the trial. Another big accident. And that's going to lift one car up off the ground. Logan Yorkson at the 18 of Wyatt Gray gets collected. And Tucker with a little bit more contact right there at the end. And oh boy, all of a sudden, we are not going to be talking about fuel mileage anymore. This is going to be a sprint to the finish. Let's go back and see what happened on this one. Same spot pretty much as where things happened for Jeff Merck, maybe a little bit later, but I don't think this one is going to be a blown motor. Let's see exactly what it was. And, ooh. Yikes, Joshua McCullough just coming down into the 22 of Adam Young. Adam Young trying to save it, but, oh man, someone's got to tell him he needs to use the 210 steering. Boy, he could have caught it. No, I'm just kidding, of course. Nothing that Adam Young could have done right there. Trying to save the car, but it's so easy to overcorrect, and as soon as that happens, he's just along for the ride as a driver at this time, and sends him down to the 18 of Wyatt Gray, who has nowhere to go. He gets up to the wall. Logan York piles in the 77. I think that was Brenton Barker, the 77, who we saw get collected. And multiple others here. So we'll go back here and try to center things on Wyatt Gray. Not sure how much damage he sustained. I don't think his was too bad. Some of these other guys certainly had some pretty significant contact. And for Joshua McCullough, you know what? Actually, I take it back. We're going to go on his onboard view first here. This is coming off the banking, so sometimes you can get a little bit loose here. Car will catch you off guard once in a while, and it doesn't really look like the car gets loose. I think Josh was just fixated on the bumper of Cody, and I think he tries to follow him down right there and just overdoes it a little bit. Gets into the 22 here of Adam Young. And in doing so, rest unfolded. Now, I was trying to see if Adam Young moves up at all right here off the corner. Still think that was more of Josh coming down. Let's see. So if we play it in slow motion, Adam Young, he's got his right sides on the seam. Now he's going down. Adam Young did wiggle up a little bit, but by no means did he shift out of his lane. I still think that's going to be on Joshua McCullough for coming down the racetrack, and nothing, again, Josh was doing intentionally. Just maybe a little bit of a mistake off the corner. Let's see the outcome as a result. Let's see if we can get a few more different angles of this one here. This is going to be from the pit lane view as all the chaos breaks out right as the time they get into the tri-oval. Logan York took a couple of big shots, and that was actually, looks like the 98 of Michael Barksdale. Car that got up into the air, and then Tucker McClendon right here. A little bit of contact. Wyatt Gray just for good measure. Not too many major incidents through that accident, though. I don't think we're going to see a ton of cars retire. If so, maybe one, maybe two. But that should be about the extent of it. So we give you another slow-mo view of this one here. Right there, Barksdale taking that big shot, lifting up the rear bumper. All right, so to go back live, now going to set ourselves up here for a restart with probably 11 to 10 laps to go in this race. Malik Ray currently being scored as your leader. Trevor Oswald second. Michael Guest is in third. Dylan Aust in fourth. Dylan Basin back in fifth. Evan Carlbon sixth. Garrett Maines in seventh. Daniel Falkingham eighth. Freddie Bosnez in ninth. And Nathan Harper rounding out your top 10. If you're just tuning in, again, we appreciate you being here. You are watching the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series live here on PGR eSports. And, you know, I know that they got to do it during the thing, but I want to take the chance to, again, say huge thank you to all the production crew and broadcast crew for the PGR SummerSlam 499. Dawson Wise, phenomenal job handling that all by himself as the broadcaster. I know he had some help. Big thanks to Cody Nagels for coming on board for the feature. And then obviously all the guys, Landon Veliky, Trevor, and a few others that helped with some of the heat races. and, of course, our phenomenal producers. A couple of them this time brought on a new guy. I don't want to say the name wrong. I think it was either Devin or DJ Lyon. Phenomenal job with the heats. And then, of course, Christian doing a phenomenal job with the feature. And let me tell you something, folks. With the way I saw things go, not only from, the racing's a different story. I mean, these guys are the ones on the track. We can't really control that part. But the event, the prize purse, the production for the PGR 500 this year is going to be something that you have not seen in the history of iRacing before. I have a good feeling about that. So make sure that you stick around for that one. You are not going to want to miss it. Could become an iRacing staple. Certainly hoping for it, at least. Got a quick thing here. Evan Carbon says check out his onboard view. Let's see if we can go to it here real quick. Take a quick look at this here just before we go back green. We'll make this snappy, but see what he saw in this. Checks up, sees the wreck in front. Oh, man. Wow. And how about it? Guess who he followed through? The 371 I rating. None other than Joel Hernandez. That's got to be a fake I rating. He is looking too impressive out here tonight for that to be any sort of real. And he's still up here in the top 10. All right, here we go. 11 laps remaining. Green flag back in the air here at Daytona. And it is going to be a all-out brawl to the finish. Good start on the inside. How about 3 wide before we even get to turn 1? Kyler Wynn, Cody Nagels getting aggressive right out of the gate. And watch out, Evan Carlbot. Oh, he makes a big save. Now he's into the wall. Back in the wall. He's going to collect Nagels. Can the 78 save it? Caution is out. Race control saying that's too many close calls for this. And Evan Carlbot, who just had the phenomenal save in the last one, gets involved in this one. I got to think with as many times as he hit the wall, he's got, oh yeah, I was going to say he's going to have some sort of right front suspension damage, but hoping it was still on. Instead, it is broke. See that tire not rolling, and Carlbon's night is done with less than 10 laps to go. Let's go back and watch it here. It's Daniel Falkingham just behind him, and as they get into the corner here, it's Falkingham pushing him. We're going to go to my favorite cam here, the chopper view. So Falkingham is pushing. They got a 3-car tandem there going with Dylan Aust, and the 3 just in front. And as they get into the corner here, not sure if Daniel... I'm assuming Daniel can probably see that they're still tandem, but Falkingham gets Carlbon a little bit offset on the right side of the rear bumper, and you can see Daniel trying to lift to let Carlbon save it, but that second contact happened just before he could check up enough to let him collect it. Carlbon gets in the wall, and then as he's trying to save it, gets back down into Kyler Wynn. Kyler Wynn saves it. Carlbon gets back down into Nagels, hits the wall again. So everybody does save it. But in the process, Carlbon breaks that right front suspension. So unfortunately, his night is going to be over. Let's take a look at it now from one of our Crank It Up cams. This is going to be from the Gopher cam. Here we go. For Carlbon, I mean, it's not really much you can do. You're just trying to save the car, and once you hit the wall here, you're going so fast, even when you're not up to full speed, that it doesn't take much to actually break the suspension. This is interesting. I feel like we're seeing these guys up front really conservative on fuel, so it makes me think they're a lot closer than what we initially thought. See if we can get some more insight on that before things are all said and done, but up front, these guys are trying to sort it out. The general gist is you've got Malik Ray, Michael Guest, Dylan Basin, Trevor Ozanoth, and Freddie Bosnez all inside the top 5, as we will go green with what appears to be most likely 7 laps to go. Looking at some of these guys that we've got towards the front of the field here. Looking for who could be a potential first-time winner. I'm not sure if Dylan Basin has ever captured a win in PGR as of yet. I know Dylan Aust certainly hasn't, so that'd be a big one for him. Gordon Spain, Joey Mashwitz, a couple of drivers there with a big opportunity to try to fight for their first win in PGR here tonight. And a couple drivers that are currently just outside of the top 10. Not by much that are going to have a shot. One of them, the 06 of David Sheets. He's got a phenomenal opportunity to get the job done here tonight. Let's see how David's feeling here as we get down to the end of this thing. Hey, David, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, listen, David, it's your first PGR race back. and you have already looked like you never even took a break, up 16 spots from where you started this race at. You're sitting in 12th, but we know how crazy these things can get at the end. You've already been roughed up a few times tonight. What is the game plan here, and how are you going to get to the front?
Honestly, just trying to survive tonight and just put a good finish together. Going to take whatever runs that come open and see what happens here in the last couple laps, but just hopefully try to make it to the finish line.
Yeah, certainly going to need to make it there to have a shot at it. But the other question that I wanted to ask you, David, is we're seeing some of the leaders looking like it might be a little sketchy on fuel. Do you feel like you're good to go on fuel even if we need to go into the overtime?
Yeah, no question on fuel. So hopefully some of these guys run out and let us move up a few more spots.
Absolutely. Well, David, we appreciate you talking to us. I know you'll be looking for some teammates, and we'll see if you can capture potentially either a cash spot or a win here tonight. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks.
All right, there you go, David Sheets, the 06, as we get ready to get back to green flag racing. And for David saying he was plenty good to go on fuel, so that's good news for David Sheets. He's going to be feeling pretty good about that, as it's going to be, 7 laps to go here when we get the green. And up front, it will be Malik Ray in control of this restart with Michael Guest up here as well. So he'll have at least one teammate here to try to dance with. See how well it works out for them. But again, if you're just tuning in, appreciate you being here. And by the way, it's been a while since I've said it, so I'm going to have to include it here tonight. If you're new, we would really appreciate it if you give us a follow. We are inching closer to that 1,000 sub mark. I think we're about 30 away. And if you enjoy what you're seeing tonight, leave us a like. Let us know that you appreciate it. And another big thank you to Devin Ray for the $2 super chat earlier tonight. Again, thank you for tuning in. This is going to be wild. Get your votes in. I mean, I cannot tell you who I vote to win this one. I think if Malik and Michael Guest are in front on the white flag, I think one of them wins. And I think that we still have an opportunity to see a first-time winner with a few of the drivers that are up here in the top 10. And, I mean, even Trevor Osmernoth, a guy who had a little bit of a rough showing, a rough week with the SummerSlam, turned it around, still found a way through a provisional to make it into the feature. And he's won in PGR a couple times. So the Jack Shack looking to see if they can return to victory lane through Trevor Osmernoth here tonight. Certainly a possibility. By the way, I was trying to look earlier as to where PGR will be this time next week. As again, we are in quarter 3. So I mentioned it kind of being the kickoff to a degree. We've actually ran 3 weeks in quarter 3, but we're here at Xfinity at Daytona. Next week is going to be the next gen back here at the World Center of Racing, and interested to see if anything's changed since they added the update. The next gens had became quite boring for a while. We'll see if things change. Tell you what's not been boring, the racing that we have had here tonight. We are getting ready to start to talk about the conclusion of it. Here we go, green flag back in the air. 7 laps to go at the World Center of Racing. Good restart for Malik. He's trying to decide where he wants to go. He'll drop down here and try to get the bottom to get some momentum going. This is where all the decisions become crucial. We're not quite at the point where you can push all the way to the finish. Still got to conserve some temps. But watch out back. Kyler Wynn, David Sheets, Nathan Harper. This is the 3 wide. Kyler's going to be David Sheets to the punch. Will the 32 of Harper try to get up to follow? Ken McCullough Jr. and a few others now going to jump out of line. This third lane will have 3 cars by the time they get to turn 3, but up front it's still side by side between Malik Ray and Trevor Osmernoth. No more help yet. Barksdale going to bail out of the third. David Sheets side drafting Kyler Wynn. Harper still not able to get out there just yet. I still think that 32, if he gets clear, may very well take the opportunity, and he will. The 39 of Falkingham goes as well, but now Kyler going to ditch him. He'll go back to the inside. Ken McCullough Jr., no help. But now Dylan Aust is going to jump up. This is going to make the middle in an awkward spot. Falkingham not able to find the right connection with the 3 car, but they're still rolling nonetheless. Watch out for Dylan Aust. Malik Ray, some contact from the 88 of Basin off of turn 2. Big momentum here. You got to be careful if you're the 54. Michael Guest, the middle and the top are getting ready to roll, but Guest is going to stay on the bottom. Still 3 wide. Harper trying to get back to him. You know what Kyler Wynn wants to do right here. He's trying to stay on the bottom. He wants to see if he can get clear of those 2 before he jumps back out of line. And Falkingham's going to line up with him, so that's going to shuffle Dylan Aust out to the back. I think he might have made that move just a little bit too early. Trouble, watch out. Kyler saves it. We got one in the grass, though. And they're still trying to wreck out back. I don't know if they're going to hold on. They won't. Oh, big hit. Brock Westmoreland T-boned by the 18 of Wyatt Gray, who has destroyed the front end of his Toyota Supra. His hood is bouncing around over near the pit road exit. So Wyatt Gray going to park it. He is done for the night. Brock Westmoreland, not sure the extent of his damage, but you can certainly see he's got some. Both there on the front right, front left, and the rear. So he'll have to go in. Get it worked on a bit. Let's go back and look at this one. For Joey Maschwitz here, this was a lifesaver because he may have either lost the pack or been in greater trouble here. This caution doesn't come out when it does. Now this all starts. Let's see if we can get you to an aerial shot. By the way, I had someone the other day mention that I love using the chopper view, and that is right. I always think it gives the best view first of how a wreck starts. And I know this all happened right around Kyler Wynn, who initially saved it. And I don't think Kyler ever actually got collected in the wreck. It really happened out back, but see Dylan Austin 3 up top. And Dylan, yikes. Dylan just drives down into the right rear of Kyler. Similar to what we saw happen with Joshua McCullough off the corner, and then Kyler trying to gather it back up. Gets down into Falkingham, who gets down into Joey Maschwitz. And for Joey here, I want to watch him first. Does he collect this and get back on the racetrack without issue? He does. Look at that. A little bit of dirt track in there to make sure that he does not collect anybody and gets back on. And Mark Vondell actually did make it back in this race. We thought earlier he might have been done. And he's able to dodge. The 77 able to dodge as well. So it really ends up only taking out Wyatt Gray and Brock Westmoreland, who didn't have really much of anywhere to go as this happened. And we'll back this up again here and show you Brock Westmoreland first off. See if we can get this back to full screen. So for Brock, I know he was the car that got turned here further back, and surprising that he didn't get more damage than he did. Watch his checkup out back, and just Asher Little gets into him. That sends it up into Harper, gets turned around. And then Wyatt Gray trying to dodge, just nowhere to go. Both him and Cody Nagel's pretty significant contact. Wyatt, though, obviously getting the worst of that exchange. See what the onboard view looked like here for Wyatt Gray, who was in a second pack. So to a degree, I was a little bit surprised that these guys didn't get checked up a little bit sooner. I'm not sure if the caution came out a little bit later. What here? You see Joey in the grass, but, I mean, to Wyatt's fairness, you never really saw that. I mean, like I said, if the caution wasn't out by that point, then he really would have never had any idea, unless somebody was calling it out, that they're wrecking up top. I mean, look at this. You can't see anything. You see a little bit of smoke, but you think that's just a driver scraping the wall. All of a sudden, here it is. You see Brock spinning across the track. Well, too late to slam on the brakes at that point, and that is, again, a pretty big hit for Wyatt Gray. So this is going to shake up the restart even more now. So we give you one more angle of this here from the zoomed-in view. Cody tried to dodge low, and at this point, I think Wyatt's only hope was try to shoot the gap, but again, just doesn't work out, and as soon as he made the contact, you could see it just completely blow the front end of that race car apart. So as we do go back live now, it'll be, looks like, I think this is going to be a natural green-white checkered. I don't think this will be our overtime attempt. Can certainly check on that. Yep, looks like it's going to be, no, take it back. It will go into overtime because the lights on the pace car are not off. So we are only going to have one shot, and this will be it right here as we go into overtime. Remind you of the rules. It's going to be a 2-lap shootout, and there will not be any cautions. We will run this thing out to the finish. So that means if they wreck, you have to just keep going. And for the guys up front, Malik Ray, Michael Guest, Trevor Osnaut, Dylan Basin, Gordon Spain now inside the top 5. How about that? He's looking for a big opportunity here tonight, but it's going to be close for these guys on fuel. You got to remember, if you're out in front, you are going to burn a little bit more fuel than the guys that are running in the draft. So we'll see if everybody can make it, and if so, who makes the right move at the right time. Lights go off on the pace car, so that means that we will officially be going green this time. And again, going to be just 5 miles to settle it here at the World Center of Racing. Michael Guest looking for a PGR win here tonight. And, you know, some of these guys, I think you look at the names and you're like, well, I mean, they have to have a PGR win. It only makes sense. And It's very well a possibility, but I'll be the first to tell you, I don't know all of these guys' stats because there's so many good drivers in here. Me and Dawson were able to keep tabs on it for a little while there, but we've gotten to a point now where it just feels like it's too many to actually keep track of. But for Michael Guest, trying to see if I could quickly find out whether or not he's grabbed a win. I know I've seen him up front, and I feel like he has grabbed a win before. I'm not sure if that has translated to a win. Well, take it back. He's got 2 of them. So Michael Guest on the stat sheet, 2-time PGR winner. He'll be looking to make it 3 in a row here tonight. So for some of these guys, it more so, I guess, becomes a conversation of who can become the winning most driver than it does trying to get a win. Again, if you're just tuning in, you might want to stick around because we're getting ready to see 2 laps of pure chaos. Potentially some destruction, hoping these guys can keep it clean to the finish. We know how these things tend to play out. And we will not see another caution, so this is it. All bets are off. As the pace car works off at turn 4, big question here as well to watch for is going to be who makes that 3rd lane. I'll tell you what would be one of the biggest upsets I have ever seen. If Joel Hernandez from 11th can get to the outside, get up front, and find a way to win this race. Here we go. 2-lap shootout, overtime to decide it. Green flag in the air, and watch out. They stack them up on the inside right out of the gate. There was some gaps further back, so thankfully it will not lead to a wreck, but look what it does up front. It allows Malik Ray to roll. Dylan Basin rolls right along with him. Malik not going to go to the inside, though. Here he's going to try to help keep that 54 aligned with him on the front row. The longer those two can stay side by side, the more of a chance they can be decided between them at the finish. On to the super stretch. Trouble. Garrett into the wall. They're going to tear him up on the backstretch. Caution. Caution is out. They did throw it. And, oh, man, how is this going to change things? Does this mean Michael Guest is your race winner? They're still at full pace. No, they're still racing. I take it back. That caution will not end it. They're still going. And, oh, man, Trevor Osnoff looking for the move. Malik's going to fake him. Now he goes low. Big block. Bosnez and Kyler Wynn have to catch it. 1 lap remaining. White flag in the air. Trevor Osnoff on the outside trying to find some help. But it's a group of 4 teammates going against him on the bottom. Michael Guest still leads. Malik Ray 2nd. Freddie Bosnez 3rd. Kyler Wynn 4th. This outside can get a couple more, though. They got a shot. Nobody seems to want to go. They'll have to race to the pace car. Watch out. They almost wreck again. Oh, my goodness. What a chaotic finish. Still side by side, though, down the super stretch. Can the outside make enough of a run to do it? Trevor's going to have a shot. He's got to stay alongside Malik here. Final time as they roar off at turn 4. Malik Ray, will he have a shot to jump out and make a move on his teammate? Here they come into the tribal. Michael Guest is going to make it win number 2. Or will he? Malik Ray tries to beat him at the line. He does. Malik Ray steals it right at the last second. Oh my goodness. A photo finish to end it at Daytona. Malik Ray wins it by 1,000th of a second. Oh my goodness. Well, we had a wreck up front. We had the caution come out. Nobody lifted. Then we had to race through the pace car 3 wide on the backstretch. And then Malik steals it away, coming through the tri-oval. I mean, how crazy is that of a finish? Oh my gosh. Well, we got to go back and break both of these laps down. Malik Ray is going to bring it around, and he'll celebrate. As he is your race winner. The fireworks going off in the background. And your defending SummerSlam champion picks up right where he left off last time PGR raced. What a place to win at. Tell you what, winning at Daytona and Talladega is great, but I've always said I think winning at Daytona just feels a little bit better. For Malik here, bringing it around to celebrate. We get a burnout here right near the start-finish line. Looked like that answered our question as well of, was everybody going to be good to go on fuel? And the answer was absolutely. He's still got more than enough to do a burnout as well, so there were no concerns there, even if we initially thought there may have been. And if you're Malik, I mean, you got to be feeling kind of on top of the world here, at least in the money racing scene. You just get to a point where, you know, you hear a lot of guys talk about it comes in waves, but I think he's got to be feeling like he can't lose right now. As we go back and look at the results. And by the way, even if you don't want to hear interviews tonight, I encourage you to stick around a little bit longer because we are going to go down and break down those last 2 laps right after we go through finishing results here. So again, Malik Ray is your race winner. Official gap is actually 2 1/1000ths of a second, the distance that he beat Michael Guest by right there at the end. It's Michael Guest coming home a bridesmaid, but just barely. He's got to feel pleased with that finish. Trevor Osronoff on the podium tonight. He takes 3rd. Freddie Bosnes back in 4th. Dylan Basin finishes in 5th. Kyler Wynn in 6th. And it's Daniel Falkingham rounding out the final payout spot as he'll get the free entry into next week's race. Gordon Spain taking home 8th here tonight. Joshua McCullough back in 9th. Matthew Stallneck 10th with Adam Young 11th. David Sheets in 12th. Joel Hernandez 13th. Jared Haynes in 14th. Ken McCullough Jr. 15th. It'll be Miles Bagley in 16th. Cody Nagel 17th with Joey Mashowitz finishing back in that 18th spot. It'll be Tucker McClendon in 19th and Logan York rounding out the top 20. 21st is Nathan Harper. 22nd, Dylan Aust. Garrett Maines finishes 23rd after getting collected on that first lap of the final restart. Michael Barksdale 24th. Larry McDonald in 25th. It'll be Brian Hennings in 26th with Mike Davenport 27th. David Justin at 28th. Brock Westmoreland 29th, and Asher Little rounding out the top 30. Cameron Craighead finishes 31st, Mark Vondell 32nd, Wyatt Gray 33rd with Brenton Barker 34th, Evan Carlbon 35th, Curtis Mitchell 36th, Matt Lee 37th, with Jeff Merck 38th, John Ward being scored in 39th. All right, before we go grab your top 3 for interviews, let's go back and watch here this entire last 2 laps. We're not going to watch all. We're going to speed it up through different parts, but I mean, just in general, this was insane, the amount of chaos that we saw break out here from when the green flag came out to when the caution came out to when the white flag came out to the checkered flag. So here we go. This was going to be the green, and everything's all good here, so we'll speed it up until we get to about the backstretch. There was a checkup on the inside, but again, a few gaps further back on the inside allowed that checkup to kind of dissipate without anybody getting involved. But then here we go as they get onto the backstretch. What gets Garrett turned here? This could be important for payout positions. It's not really anything anybody does wrong. It's just a big stack up. As you can see, the 88 of Dylan Basin here trying to push Malik off the corner. Garrett's a little bit lower, and it's a little bit of an offset, and the stack up just gets back to Garrett, sends him low, and then Falkingham not quite able to check up enough to keep it off of Garrett, which is what turns the 1 into the wall. He takes a big hit back down into the field, and collects a few of them out back. Now, the ones that made it through this, caution comes out, and I think the 38 of Gordon Spain might have been one of the drivers that when the caution came out, he thought, hey, this thing's over. We're done, because it's just weird the way he drops that line right here. Watch this. Gordon Spain's good. He's good. And then watch this. He just checks up and fades to the apron. I think he thought the race was over. Unless he ran out of fuel, but that's not the case because he blends back up. Then you see everybody trying to merge back on. And now this is where things were interesting. And, I give Trevor credit here. This is a battle that, to a degree, you almost feel like you can't win. I mean, you feel like any move you make, if you're Trevor, you know that the other guys are probably going to ditch you here if they're working together. But he tries his best. He gets to the outside, and he does get the side draft enough to at least stay close to even with Malik Ray. The big problem here is he needs some help. He just can't seem to get it, and this was the other scary moment. Watch what this looked like here from the cockpit view as they have to drive through the pace car. You can't see anything, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's a pace car. And then as they're going down the straightaway here, I thought for sure Trevor was going to have another shot. You see the run coming out back. Big shot into turn 3, but that kind of got them separated again right after they started to get grouped up. And Dylan Basin trying to make it back, but the inside just too organized. And then right here coming to the line, how about this from Malik Ray? And that's tough for me to tell there if Michael Guest. It doesn't look to me like Michael Guest meant to go up. I think that maybe the push got him a little wiggly right here, but we'll have to ask him in interviews. So it sends him up. It's a good save. Malik a little contact with Trevor. But then look at this. I mean, I thought here, I was writing it off. You heard me commentate it. I thought for sure Michael Guest has this in the bag. But nope. Here comes Malik. He's got just enough of a push out back. Almost 3 wide at the finish, but right there. Oh my goodness. Malik just barely inches out the 54 of Michael Guest. All right, we're going to go grab your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back here at Daytona. All right, welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Going to start first here tonight with your race winner and back-to-back SummerSlam winner. That's Malik Ray. Malik, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. Well, you know, we talked earlier in the broadcast about all the momentum that you have coming off the SummerSlam win, and then you come into tonight and get one done right at the finish by 2/1000ths of a second. Break us down. Not only the move out of turn 4 coming to the trial, but really those last 2 laps. I mean, that is one of the most chaotic things I've ever seen with the caution. You guys had to drive through the pace car. Then there's almost a wreck, and then you beat him out.
Yeah, man, it was a lot going on there at the end. I think we had a caution, and at the I think on the last green, white, checkered. I know when the yellow came out, I wasn't sure like if we were supposed to race it back or not. But I saw Trevor kept his foot in it, and I was like, well, if he's keeping his foot in it, then I'm gonna try and do the same. And then once all of my teammates got lined up there, I mean, it was pretty smooth going from there.
Certainly was, and I'll tell you what, it had me caught up here in the booth. I saw the caution. I was like, well, I guess maybe it's a different rule here tonight. I guess the race is over, but yeah, you guys all stayed in it, and you know, tell us about a little bit of tonight in general. I mean, we saw you up front a lot, but first time that PGR has really been back in a more controllable series car. We're not in the Gen 6. Did you feel like that made the racing a little bit more controlled here and a little bit better tonight?
Yeah, for sure. It was nice. It was nice having that, like all that experience and stuff like that. It was nice.
Absolutely. Well, Malik, we won't hold you too long. I know you want to go celebrate, so before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
It'll be Freddie, Kyler, Trevor, and Michael Guest. I appreciate all their help.
And Malik, we appreciate you.
And Jeff Merck, too. Thank you, guys.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, Malik, we appreciate you talking to us. Congrats again on the race win, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
There you go. Well, I'll tell you what, that answers my question. I thought initially that Trevor was not working with these guys here tonight, so we'll have to see what Trevor has to say about it, but hey, nonetheless, they all certainly worked pretty good together at the end, all finishing in the money. All right, that now brings us up to your second place finisher here tonight. Another one of the Coke Series drivers in the field, and that is Michael Guest. Michael, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Well, you bring home a second place finish, man. You were so close to win number 3 here tonight. Tell us about what happened off at turn 4. Was it a little bit of a sour push, or did you try to go up there to make a block?
A little bit of not really either. I mean, I wasn't even sure if that was going to be counted. I kind of thought it was going to be over at the caution just because everybody kind of checked up. But regardless, I mean, me and Malik were already up there, and that's kind of what, and Freddie, and that's kind of what we were shooting for either way. So, doesn't bother me too much either way. We still finished 1-2, and regardless of how they count it, I mean, that was a pretty good night. Things could have gone bad a couple different times in that race. We ended up pitting with Kyler, and then we had a terrible pit sequence, and then we got saved by a caution. And without that caution, we wouldn't have even had a chance at the end. So definitely glad to just take home some money tonight. And looks like it was a solid night for the entire team looking at the results.
Yeah, it certainly was. You had quite a bit of good teamwork there, especially at the end. But, you know, overall tonight, I asked Malik this, and I want to ask you the same question. Back in the Xfinity car here for PGR, did you feel like that kind of played into your hand? Did you feel a little bit more confident being back in the Xfinity car where things seemed a little bit more controlled throughout the field?
Yes and no. You know, part of it is just if you're not already up front in the B car, it's a hard time, which is kind of why we got on that pit strategies, because if you're not already up front or you're stuck in 10th, it's really hard to make those extra 10 spots up to the lead and actually control the race. So making a strategy call to actually get up there and be able to control it like that is definitely the goal. So I'm glad we were able to do that tonight.
Absolutely. Well, Michael, before we let you head out to celebrate the winnings here tonight, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, of course. You guys doing the broadcast, the PGR guys for putting on the race. The higher winnings tonight was definitely cool. I like seeing that back. Hope it stays. And then, of course, all my teammates, Malik, Freddie, Kyler, all the guys, you know, working together every week, making this work.
Michael, thank you for talking to us. Congrats again on the second place finish, and hopefully we will see you again next week.
Appreciate it.
All right, that's Michael Guest, second place finisher. Now we're going to roll on to the final man on the podium for the Jack Shack. It's Trevor Osronoff. Trevor, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
It's going good, man. How about for you? You finished third, but first question, with the way things felt like it kind of went for you at the SummerSlam, I got to think it feels pretty good to get back up here and do what you do best, and that is fighting for a win here in PGR.
Yeah. I got ridiculed and I got appreciated at the 499. So we'll just see how that went. But yeah, this was nice to be back up front here. Love these cars, man. Xfinity cars are definitely one of the best. I know that people say they gridlock, but with this new not locking bumper things, it really causes a new style kind of racing, really, and definitely a lot to figure out. There's a lot of gray areas to this, and yeah, there's just a lot to learn, like doing this and this whole last lap thing with being able to lock bumpers. I don't know, man. It's a lot to go through and figure out, but we got a third place out of it. I used to say I really hate finishing second. You know what I hate worse than finishing second? Finishing third. That I hate the worst, but it is what it is. I got a podium. Can't be mad at it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still a podium nonetheless, but talk about the move there that we saw. You make the move, you go to the top, guest covers, and you get no help from behind. Was that kind of what you expected to happen, or did things just not play out the way you were hoping?
1000% expected that. As you can see, Malik, Michael Guess, Freddie Bazinez, Kyler Whip. I think it was Malik, Freddie, and Kyler behind me, and Michael in front. And I just knew it was coming. I already knew I was cooked. I knew it was coming, but once they threw the block, I already knew that's what they would have done. They went to the bottom. They all lined up, and it was just me trying to side draft and hopefully get Dylan behind me and do something with that. But of course, I mean, you get 4 cars versus 2, and then eventually we had Folk come up there behind Dylan, and that just wasn't enough time. Maybe I probably would have given it a shot to probably get the win, but yeah, I just kind of knew down the backstretch where I stood with that, and I was just going to hold on and hope for the best.
And it still works out pretty well, but yeah, certainly could understand some frustration there. But hey, nonetheless, to cap off a good finish for you here tonight, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Oh yeah, man, I got to thank the boys. Jack Shack was rocking the night. Me and Dylan cashed. Somebody in the chat said the top 2 best teams took all the cash positions, so I can agree with that. Shout out to Dylan. Evan ran the night. Evan was up front there a little bit, just holding his own. And shout out to Jared. Jack Shack was doing something tonight. Thank you guys, man. Each and every week, PGR broadcasters are A1, especially with you in the booth, old microphone boy. Heck yeah. Appreciate Mike and Baker and all you guys putting on PGR each and every week. And can't wait for next week, baby. Hopefully, I don't even know what we're running. I don't want to know what we're running, but we'll figure it out. And yeah, man, I don't even know what else to do from here. I'm probably just going to go open a cold one and relax for the rest of the night. So appreciate you, man, and see y'all next week.
Sounds like a plan. Well, Trevor, thank you for talking to us. Congrats again on the 3rd place finish, and we will see you next week.
Yes, sir.
All right, that is going to wrap up interviews, and that'll also just about wrap up our coverage here tonight from Daytona International Speedway. What a crazy race, but what an even crazier finish. But a photo one at that. Did not disappoint. It's Malik Ray who gets the win. And man, it was a thriller. Next week we'll be back. Same track, different car. We'll be in the next gens. Certainly looking forward to what's in store for that. As for tonight, as always, thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed. That's it for me, Austin Green, here on PGR Esports. And until next time, have a good night.